The thing I want to talk to you about this week, obviously you've seen from the title, is trust in teams. I did a quick Google search of this idea, and it's crazy. Like, most typical articles that you see out there say that, you know, your team's got to trust one another. Trust is critical to performance. If you don't have trust, then you know, you're not going to do well, and it's going to undermine the team, and all these problems. You would have guessed from my title, I think it's unrealistic. Trust costs a lot, and it's not what we need all the time in a team. It's going to go up and down. That's perfectly normal. So what I'm going to share with you this week is a way of thinking about trust and those connections between people in your team, so that you know when it matters and when it doesn't. Is that cool? All right, let's do this. Let me talk this through with you right now. So where this came about was I was doing a session yesterday with a team before I reveal the content, and I was talking to them about the difference between consensus and agreement. So they're a group of, they're a team, a project team. They've been brought together from all sorts of different companies, and they've got to work together. Now, the thing I was saying about consensus was that in a complex human system, so just for a minute, think about all teams as complex human systems. So think your family at Christmas, right, is the right analogy. So imagine you've got all these different people from different situations who are trying to work together. They've all got their own personalities. They've all got their own desires, wants, needs, problems, challenges, idiosyncrasies. And your job is to get them to perform individually, but also perform collectively. All right, sounds like a team lead, eh? Now, in that environment, my point of view is that true consensus, where you get 100% alignment on something, hardly ever occurs, and is probably unrealistic. And the reason that we get, I guess, so negative about our teams is because we expect that. Instead, what I would argue in a complex system is that what we're after is, and I'm just going to write these words because I think they're important, is enough agreement to move forward. Now, there are some cases where consensus is absolutely critical. Okay, give you an example. If you're on a jury, the way that system works and the way the legal system set up is that you need 100% of people to agree that someone's guilty or not guilty. But in an organizational setting, no, I don't think so, right? It doesn't require that 100% consensus. We just need enough agreement to move forward. Now, the second variable in here, so two variables in here that make this, two things that make agreement variable. The first one is context, okay? So think about the ability for your team to reach agreement or consensus is, depending on the issue, it's gonna go up and down. Give you an example. In any one meeting, you may have to make a decision about where to invest money in a project or not, depending on whether that project relates to the individual's KPIs that is putting forward that project. They're going to have agreement or not agreement, and that debate is going to go up and down, and that's all part of it. When it comes to people, you know, people's potential and their focus forward, people are going to have different positions on various people. Need I go on? We just need enough agreement to move forward, and we get too stuck on consensus. The third variable here is cost. Consensus costs a bomb, right? It costs a lot of time and a lot of money to get there. So it's not always the goal. So what I want to talk about is the idea of sufficient trust. Sufficient trust in a team. And if you think about the whole idea that trust is so hard to define, I would just define it as the absence of distrust or dysfunction, because everything else is positive, and that's the best way to think about it. What you need in your team is enough trust to create what Google says, in Google's great research, they've come up with that term of psychological safety. And we need enough of that to produce the innovation, to manage the risk and the creativity that you need. So just a really quick one for your team. Don't get too caught up on the idea of everyone needing to trust one another. You need enough agreement, enough trust to move forward on the issue that you're talking about. And you need enough trust to create psychological safety so that innovation, creativity can occur. Hope that's been useful for you. Have an amazing weekend. If you want to talk about your team, send me a message or leave me a comment down below. I would love to know what you do in your team to build trust and psychological safety. Talk to you soon.